YouTube. Today in the Naughty Librarian, I'm going over my March TBR list. I am super pumped about March. I got a lot of really different books on deck, and that's kind of mainly because February was so full of romances that I want to, palate cleanse a bit. Try some different books, throw some fantasy, throw some sci-fi, throw a little dash more romance, because, your girl needs at least a little bit of romance to be happy. I got so many cool books on deck for March. Let's just get into exactly what I'm planning on reading. Hopefully I will stick to this TBR list. Let's start things off with a dash of romance. Why not? I'm going to read My Fake Rake by Leigh. I have been so interested in this one. Oh my goodness. It's kind of like a My Fair Lady type of story, but in this case it's a My Fake Rake. So it's about this woman named Grace, and she's kind of not into dating and dudes. She's like, meh. And then she's like, I really like science. And then this scientist guy comes to town. She's like, oh shit, I'm totally into dating now. I need to make myself desirable. What? My friend Sebastian? Oh, I got it. I'm gonna make you over into a rake, the devil may care attitude, and you're gonna pursue me so I look desirable, and then this cool science guy will notice me and be into it, and then I can go date him. And Sebastian, I'm pretty sure he's a most cinnamon roll of a dude ever, and he's just well, all right. And then wouldn't you know, the whole trope of, uh-oh, my friend is now hot comes into play. So it's basically Grace and Sebastian fake dating, and then they're gonna fall in love for real. And I love these tropes. I do love fake dating. I love kind of a mistaken identity, fake rake situation, a My Fair Lady type situation. Always fun to deal with. There are so many opportunities for funny jokes and smutty delights because I like Leigh. She's very sex positive as an author and a person. So this should be fun. I am so pumped to read it. It's gonna be a treat. This is my treat book. When I read a bunch of heavy content, then I'm gonna come back and read this as a treat. Another little dash of romance is Pestilence by Thalassa. So this is kind of a urban fantasy, more maybe fantasy heavy romance, and it's about the four horsemen of the apocalypse, in particular Pestilence in this case. And there's this woman named Sarah. Pestilence is coming to her town to, murder everybody, and she's like, hey, not cool, bro. So she shoots an arrow and knocks him off his horse. Uh-oh, problem is arrows don't kill him. He's one of the four horsemen of the apocalypse. And she's like, well, shit. And then she's now his prisoner, and they get to know each other a little better, and I'm assuming romance. I'm not so into the prisoner aspect of it, but I have read it in other books and it's worked. So I'm gonna go with it for now. I have heard amazing things about this one, and I just want to read it. I want a good urban fantasy. I haven't really read any urban fantasy in a while that I'm in the mood for it. So yes, Pestilence. I am so into the four horsemen of the apocalypse type stories, so I'm in. I'm so fascinated with this. Let's go with a little bit of sci-fi. I have A Big Ship at the Edge of the Universe by Alex White. So this is about a washed-up treasure hunter, a hotshot racer, and a deadly secret society. So three kinds of groups of people here, and all of them are on the hunt for this big warship that is somewhere in the galaxy, I'm assuming. Everyone thinks oh, it was destroyed, or it's lost, or it doesn't exist anymore. But if it does, and someone finds it, they're gonna get a lot of money and a lot of power, and it's something worth looking for. So it's a treasure hunt in space. And yes, you just say treasure hunt, and I'm like, I'm in. Tell me no more. And you're like, oh, it's in space. And I'm like, shut up, give it to me now. So that's about where I am with this right now. They are looking for this mystery spaceship, and I feel like they're gonna kind of be rascal characters, maybe some Han Solo types, and I am into that hardcore. So yes, I totally want to read this. I have heard amazing things about it, and I have this. I'm going to read it. There's a little bit of sci-fi. I've been trying more sci-fi in 2020. Let's throw a little bit more sci-fi in here with Salvaged by Madeleine Roux. So I'm just gonna read you this big part up here because I think it sums things up nicely. It says, a woman on the run, a captain adrift in space, one of them is infected with an alien parasite. Yes. So it's about this woman named Rosalind, and she's kind of down on her luck. She's trying to get out of her family's grips. So she ends up being kind of a space janitor, as it says in the blurb, where she cleans up after, you know, failed bio experiments and stuff. And so she screws up and she's like, hey, you have one chance to redeem yourself. If you go to this other ship and clean up that mess because, hey, we think everyone's dead on it. Go do that and we're good. So she's like, all right, fine. And she gets to that ship and she's like, oh shit, no, everyone's alive, kind of, because they're all infested with this alien parasite. So I don't know if it's space zombies or not, but it seems like it might be space zombies, and I'm into it. And then she has to work with, like, the captain of that ship, who I think is also infected, but maybe not as much as the others. They're trying to figure out a way to get rid of these alien parasites before they get to a planet and, like, kill everybody. So, I mean, the stakes are high. But I do like these type of stories because it kind of is like a horror story, and it's in an enclosed environment, so it's even scarier because you can't escape these parasites. If you're all trapped on one ship, you can't go outside and run away. It's fucking space out there. So these type of stories are really fun for me. I like them. If they're done well, they're usually really good and scary. So I'm pumped. I'm super excited to read this. Let's add some fantasy to the fun here with An Unkindness of Magicians by Kat Howard. This sounds incredible, by the way. I've also heard amazing things about it, but it is it's a magical revenge thriller. It's urban fantasy. And I'm just going to read you this one little blurb they have on here, which is, imagine the dueling club in Harry Potter, all grown up and out for blood. Yes. I love that. So it's kind of about this like unseen world in New York where there's all these magical families, and then every 20 or so years they have something called Turning, where they all like fight for dominance essentially, and everyone picks like a champion from their house and they duel it out. And this is kind of that story, but it's an unusual circumstance, and there's like a wild card duelist here, and I am so into it. I want some wizard battles. Like, is that too much to ask? I just want a good wizard battle in my life every once in a while, and I think this will give it to me. I am so excited. Wizard fights for life. Yes. Let's get a little bit more fantasy in here with Spinning Silver by Naomi Novak. This was highly recommended to me by someone, and I was like, okay. I've always heard Naomi Novak mentioned, and I haven't read anything by her, which is crazy, so I'm totally reading it now. And I also got this from the library, so I am supporting my local library. I am pretty happy about that. So this is about a girl named Miriam, and her family are basically debt collectors who are very bad at collecting debts. And then one day Miriam's like, you all suck at this, I'll do it my damn self. And she goes out and she's actually really good at it. She collects lots of debts. And then eventually she winds up crossing paths with the king of the fae type creatures. And like he's like, I don't like the cut of your jib, lady. And they have to like uncover like a mystery that's threatening the land. You know, general fantasy adventure plot lines here. Like we've seen it before. But it's Naomi Novak. And I've heard so many things about this author for so many years that are great books. And I really do want to try something out, and I thought this was a good place to start. It's more of a recent book rather than going back to like the beginning of her career. Let's start something a bit fresher. So this is like top of her game, not just starting out. She's been writing for a while. I think this is the place to start. You know, it's general fantasy adventure. Unlikely allies setting out on an adventure quest to like save the world from an evil king who can destroy the world or something. We've seen it before, but it really matters more so how it's written than the story, because really not a lot of stories are that unique when you think about it. So it's really a matter of how it's told. So I am excited. I think I'm going to enjoy this. I have high hopes. Fingers crossed, high hopes. I think I might like this. A little bit more fantasy here, of course, with Fate of the Fallen by Kel Kincaid. And I got this from Book of the Month Club. Hey, shameless self-promotion for a second. I'm actually a Book of the Month Club affiliate. Look in the description down below. You will see my affiliate link. If you use that link and you sign up for Book of the Month Club, I do get a small commission, so you do something nice for me, and you get a super dope book every month delivered to you, and you get a pick, you get to skip months. There's a lot to go into about this company, but we're not going to do that now. Shameless self-promotion is over. We are following this guy named Matthias, and everybody loves this guy. He's a real cool dude. And then there's his prophecy, and they're like, oh, Matthias, you're the chosen one, you gotta save us all. He's just like, of course I will. Have you seen me? I'm Matthias. I feel like he's that kind of guy. So he's like, okay, let's go save the world. I am a plucky adventurer. And he goes out, and he starts trying to like save the world, but things are getting worse, and people are like, maybe we should just surrender to the bad guy. Maybe he's not so bad. And then Matthias is getting his panties in a bunch going, but the prophecy says so! And he really wants to save the day here. So I don't know if this is more of like a comedy. It just seems like it's gonna be funny, because we're dealing with a guy who has a very high opinion of himself getting knocked down a few pegs. And it's gonna be, you know, fantasy, adventure, saving the world kind of story. Like I was mentioning earlier, these types of stories are very common in fantasy, but it's more about how the story is told than the exact story itself. So I am really fascinated by this. It seems like it's going to be clever, and I like clever books, so I'm excited. Let's put in a dash of YA fantasy here with Ashlords by Scott Reintgen. I absolutely loved Scott Reintgen's Nixia series, which is sci-fi, and now he's gone back and he's writing fantasy. And essentially it's a big adventure story where it's a race, and they have these phoenix horses. So essentially they have these horses that are made out of fire. Hello, that sounds incredible already. And they're only alive and made of fire during the day. As soon as the sun goes down, they turn to ash, only to be phoenixes when the sun comes up in the morning and turn back into horses. So in this race, you're not allowed to like kill other contestants, but if their horse is ashes, you can mess with those ashes. So that's where the real danger comes in here. Not necessarily from the riding and the racing and like other competitors during the day. What happens when the sun goes down? Anything goes, kind of. So it is a rough race to be in, and we're following a few different characters along this race. And honestly, I don't really need to know much more than that. It's a fantasy adventure story. That's all well and good. But frankly, you had me at fire horses. Like you don't need to tell me anything else about this book besides fire horses. And I'd be like, yes, I want to read that. Give me it. So it's a race, horses made of fire, contestants, probably like from all different classes of people, and they have to team up for something. I don't know. It's a common storyline here, but fire horses. What more do you need? Also from Book of the Month Club. Yes, I love Book of the Month Club books. Last on my list for March is Best Served Cold by Joe Abercrombie. I just finished the First Law trilogy, and there are several other books in this world before you get to like the continuation series, and I feel like reading these is going to be a much more rich experience than just going straight into like the sequel series. So I'm going to be reading Best Served Cold. This comes directly after, I believe, the events of the First Law trilogy, or sometime during the middle of it. I don't know. It's in the same world. We're particularly following Monza, who is a mercenary, the best mercenary assassin in this land, and she's a tad bit too good. So good, in fact, that it kind of marks her for death, and she gets betrayed, probably almost murdered, and she's out for revenge, because she's like, fuck all y'all bitches, I didn't die. You're next. So it is a revenge thriller. It's Joe Abercrombie, so ooh, it's gonna be dark. It's gonna be bloody and dark. That's Joe Abercrombie for you. So, oh, it's gonna be dark. I'm kind of really excited about it. Although this is a thick book. Thick with 2 C's. Good gracious, how long is this? 632 pages. It's a long book, so whew, this is gonna be an undertaking, but I am excited about it. Alright, so that does it for March. So those are the books I have on deck. Those are the ones I'm most excited for. Of course, I got a bunch of fantasy in there, but I also tried to throw in some sci-fi and some romance. Mix things up a little bit. Let me know in the comments down below, have you read any of these books? And if so, which one's your favorites and least favorites? Or are you planning on reading any of these in March as well? Let me know in the comments down below. If you like this video, make sure you give it a like. And if you want to see more videos, make sure you subscribe. And I'll see you guys soon.